Good day, everyone. My name is Stacey Bendapon Andrade, a second-year Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Social Studies in Negros Oriental State University, Chatham Campus. And today, we will be discussing the organizational culture of schools, its descriptions and levels. So, before we proceed to the main topic, we'll be discussing the learning objectives that you are expected to learn at the end of the lesson. So, for the knowledge part, we have define organizational culture and the different levels of organizational cultures in schools, such as artifacts, exposed values, and underlying assumptions. For the skill domain, we have identify cultural artifacts, symbols, rituals, and etc. within the school context and propose strategies to enhance positive cultural elements. For the affective domain, we have reflect on personal experiences and values to understand one's role in contributing to the development and maintenance of a healthy organizational culture within educational institution. So without further ado, let's proceed. So organizational culture significantly impacts the functioning and effectiveness of schools. It encompasses beliefs, attitudes, relationships, and unwritten norms that shape schools' operations. In this report, we will dwell into the descriptions and levels of organizational culture within educational institutions. So, but first, let us know what is organizational culture of schools. So, we have here three definitions of organizational cultures from three different perspectives. So, let's start with Henry Smensberg's for perspectives on organizational culture. In Henry Mintzberg's seminal work, The Structure of Organization, in 1979, he introduces the concept of organizational culture as organization ideology. Let's dwell into what this means or what he means by this. So, Mintzberg's view organizational culture as the soul of organization. It goes beyond formal structures and processes. Organization ideology encompasses the traditions and beliefs that distinguish one organization from another. It infuses life into the organizational structure, much like flesh envelops a skeleton. And think of this way. If the organizational structure is the skeleton, then organization ideology, the shared beliefs, values, and norms is the flesh that gives its vitality. So, in summary, Mintzberg emphasizes that organizational culture, the living essence, breathes life into the organizational structure. It's more like it's more than rules and charts. It's the breathing heart of organizations. Let's now proceed on the second definition of organizational culture by Robbins SP in 1998. So, according to Stephen P. Robbins in 1998, organizational culture is a system of shared meaning held by members within an organization. This system distinguishes the organization from others by shaping how people interact, make decisions, and collectively define their identity. In simpler terms, organizational culture involves beliefs, values, and norms that everyone in the organization understand and share. So, what is its distinguishing factors? It sets the organization apart from others. It's like the unique DNA that defines who we are. As a guiding behavior, culture influences how people behave, communicate, and work together. So, in summary of Robbins' SP in 1998, he says that organizational culture is the collective mindset that shape an organization's identity and behavior. However, Edgar Sheehan argues in his work Organizational Culture and Leadership that the culture should be reserved for a deeper level of basic assumption, values, and beliefs that became shared and taken for granted as the organization continues to be successful. In his perspective, on organizational culture emphasizes its different levels. So let's break it down briefly. The first one is surface versus deeper level. So on the surface levels, this includes visible aspects like dress codes, symbols, and office layouts, and these are the artifacts. On the deeper levels, here lies the core of organizational culture. It it is the basic assumptions, values, and beliefs. These underlying elements shape behaviors and are taken for granted. On the second one is the shared and taken for granted. So, as organizations succeeded, certain beliefs and values became ingrained. They form an unconscious part of the culture, so deeply embedded that people doesn't question them. So on the its significance, understanding these deeper layers helps leaders shape culture intentionally. It is not just about what's visible; it's about what drives success and defines the organization. So, in summary, Edgar Sheehan believes that organizational culture goes beyond surface appearances. It's about the unspoken essence that guides an organization's journey. Organizational culture, in general, refers to a system of shared orientation and that binds a group together and gives it a unique identity. Specifically within schools, organizational culture encompasses beliefs, perception, relationships, attitudes, and unwritten norms that shape how the school operates. It influences safety, classroom management, and celebrates diversity, creating a distinct organizational identity. And now, let us proceed to the levels of organization. And since we have already discussed the descriptions of organizational culture, let us now proceed to the levels of organizational culture. So, according to Edgar Sheehan's organizational culture models, provide he provided a comprehensive framework for understanding the organizational culture level. So this models consists of three interconnected layers. The first one is artifacts. And the second one is values, and the last one is basic assumption. So on the next slides, we'll be discussing the artifacts. The first level of organizational culture, according to Edgar Sheehan's model, is artifacts. So, artifacts are the visual elements of cultures, such as physical layout of the office and the way people dress. Is it casual, formal, or do they have a uniform? And the way they communicate with each other. While artifacts are easy to see, they can be hard to interpret fully. So, symbols and structures. These are the visible aspect. in terms of DepEd culture, they include the physical environment, office layout, dress codes, logos, and official documents. An example of this is central office structures, the hierarchical arrangement of departments, bureaus, and units within the central office. So, as you enter, for example, in the DepEd central office, you can see the hierarchical arrangement of departments, and it's either in the lobby or within the building. So the second example is regional and school division offices. The physical layout, signages, and organizational chart in regionals and division office. In terms of uniforms, this is an example of architects. DepEd have a strict uniforms and dress code policy. They have their teachers wear school uniforms or throughout the weekdays, and on Friday, teachers are allowed to wear casuals but formal for the students to see. So that are worn by DepEd employees, which reflects the organization's identity. So with this uniforms and dress code they have, um, it easily ide- it's easily be identified as the organization's identity. So when you see a person wearing that certain uniform, you can say to yourself that, oh, he's a teacher, or she is a teacher from DepEd. So uniform and dress codes can really be your identity outside or inside the school or inside the DepEd department. So let's proceed to the next level of organizational culture. It is the spouse values. So beneath artifacts lies spouse values, which are conscious strategies, goals, and philosophy that guide decision making. So this value represents what the organizations claims to believe in and uphold. So these are the mission and visions of the company. So in um, in the context of DepEd, so espouse beliefs and norms. This represents the shared beliefs, norms, and principles that guides behavior within DepEd. So in example, so here are some examples of espoused values. So in the context of DepEd's organizational culture, their commitment to quality education. So DepEd's commitment to providing quality educations to Filipino learners. So DepEd wholly committed to providing quality education in every Filipino learners. Their dedication is unwavering and ensuring that each student receives an education that empowers them for the future, as they have stated in the PED's mission and vision. So my second example is the collaboration and teamwork. So that it encourages cooperations among teachers, administrators, and staff. So they believe in the power of unity. So encouraging cooperation among them is paramount. So together they can create an environment where ideas flourish and solutions are found. So the third example is lifelong learning. So DepEd um, believes in continuous professional developments for educators. So the journey of education never ends. So DepEd embrace the belief in continuous professional developments for educators, because every day presents a new opportunity to learn and grow and improve, and this will help their students in their journey on learning and empowering them for the future. So the last level of organizational culture is underlying assumption. This is the deepest level of organizational culture. These are the unconscious beliefs that shapes behaviors and thinking. So, and assumptions are often taken for granted and are rarely explicitly discussed. Yet, they significantly influence organizational culture. So, deeply embedded assumptions. These are the unconscious fundamental beliefs that shapes in depth context or in depth organizational culture. They are rarely discussed but significantly influence behavior. For example, so here is the examples of the third level of organizational culture, the basic assumption. So, in the context of DEPID's organizational culture, decentralization and shared government, the assumptions that decision making should be decentralized with the school and learning center at the center of the heart of education system. This means that decision-making power is spread out across different levels of organization. Schools and learning centers play a central role in making decisions. So it's like giving each schools a voice in shaping education. The second example of basic assumption in depth organizational culture is the learner center approach. So the belief that education should prioritize the needs and development of students. This approach puts students at the heart of education. It means that tailoring teaching methods, content, and assessment to meet individual students' needs. So imagine a classroom where every student's learning styles is considered, and this is an example of learner-centered approach. So the last one and the last basic assumptions in it's not really the last basic assumption. It is the last example that I have of basic assumption in in the context of DepEd cultural organizational culture. So it is the adaptability to change. So the assumptions that TEPEDs must adopt to evolving educational demands and global shifts. So education must be flexible and responsive. So as the world changes, school needs to adjust their methods, curriculums, and technology to be updated on how how our how our student learns and how we can improve our skills in delivering our lessons. So and think of this as an open to new ideas and staying relevant. Edgar Sheehan model of organizational culture. So artifacts. These are the visible. These are visible, but it's not often understood. These are the surface level aspect of culture that we can see, like technology, art, and behavior pattern, but their deeper meaning may not be immediately clear. So, on the values, um, debatable, overt, and exposed values. These are the conscious beliefs and principles uh, that organizations openly expresses. It has a greater level of awareness. People within the organizations are aware of these values. And the last one is basic assumption. It is oftenly taken for granted, invisible, and preconscious. These are the deeply ingrained beliefs and assumptions that shape behavior but are rarely questioned. It involves relationship to environment, how the organization interacts with the surroundings. The second one is nature of reality, time, and space. So fundamental beliefs about existence and nature of human nature. So assumptions about people's inherent quantities and nature of activity, how work and tasks are approached. And the last one is nature of relationship. It is how people relate to each other. Um, In conclusion, in the exploration of organizational culture within educational institution, it becomes evident that cultures serves as the foundation upon which the identity and operations of schools are built. Scholars such as Metzbergs in 1979, Robbins in 1999, and Sheehan in 1992 offers various perspectives emphasizing the significance of shared beliefs, values, and assumption in distinguishing one organization from another. Edgar Shane's organizational culture model, in particular, provides a structured framework for understanding the multifaceted nature of organizational culture within the three interconnected layers: artifacts, styles, value, and underlying assumptions. Organizational culture in school is not merely a concept but a live reality that shape the daily experiences and interactions within educational communities. Through continued research, reflections, and collaborations, educator can work towards cultivating environments that empowers learners and promote holistic development. And this concludes all my report on organizational cultures, its description and levels. Thank you and see you again on my next video.